circles under his eyes and the paler-than-usual cast of his skin. "All right, then?" Yes, but I am sorely in need of respite. I've been run off my feet of late. He cut himself off. It is of no mind. Archie smiled. He understood perfectly what Simon meant, because he understood Simon perfectly. The uneasy Earl tended to reside in the caverns of his mind, and had to be wrenched out of them periodically by his friends, which was a process he both abhorred and relished. It was as if something inside him knew he needed the respite he'd referenced, but something else inside him resisted. He was a man at war with himself. He always had been, and it had only gotten worse since he'd unexpectedly inherited the earldom. James popped his head into the coach and closed his fingers around a stack of newspapers resting on Simon's lap. "Shall I take these, my lord?" Simon's hand flew to the opposite edge of the papers, and a polite tug-of-war ensued. "It's no use, Mr. James," Archie said. "He shall have to be weaned slowly from them, like a man from the poppy." "Thank you, James. That will, be all," Simon said, in the voice he used when he was trying to project authority in the domestic sphere over the staff, who would always think of him as the painfully shy, seldom-seen third son of their late lord. Archie had told Simon 100 times to use his Parliament voice at home, but somehow Simon didn't, or couldn't, and he ended up sounding like a boy playing at manhood. Janes shot a dismayed look at Archie. "Worry not, Mr. Janes. I shall keep his lordship in line at the posting inns, and once in Cumbria we shall be completely alone." Archie couldn't wait. Town made him jumpy and irritable. His lungs were crying out for fresh air, his trigger finger was itching for a good hunt, and, not to put too fine a point on it, his soul was in need of a prolonged dose of exposure to his best mates. Speaking of, one down, time to collect Effie. He rapped on the ceiling, and the coach rumbled off. "Shall we wager on how long it will take to wrest Effie from his papers?" Archie asked a while later, as they turned onto Berkeley Square. "Or his paint, or merely the dark depths of his imaginings?" He chuckled. "Surely there will be some manner of resting required, is my point, and shall we lay a wager on it?" "I'd have to be bound for Bedlam to take that wager." Simon bent his head to join Archie in peering out the window at number 20. "God's teeth, who's died?" "I don't know," Archie exclaimed, alarmed. The steps of the townhouse were strewn with straw, and the door bedecked with the black ribbons of mourning. "You don't think—" Simon's voice reflected the horror that had taken root in Archie's gut. "No," Archie said, though he was all too aware that wishing something weren't true had no bearing on whether it actually was. "We'd have heard if the Earl died," Archie said, to himself as much as to Simon. Effie would have come to them straight away. It occurred to Archie, though, that someday the old Earl was going to die, and his son, Edward Astley, Viscount Featherfinch, would inherit the earldom. It also occurred to Archie that no one, least of all Effie himself, was prepared for that day. As they approached the door, Archie, trying to regain some equilibrium, said, "I wager it takes us 70 minutes to extract him." "Considering that he planned this year's trip," Simon said, "I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say 3/4 of an hour." "We shall see. Loser sits backward on the journey." "If there's even going to be a journey," Simon said, as the straw crunched beneath their feet. "Someone has clearly died, and we can't go without Effie." "Indeed." "Well, they could, but they wouldn't." "Then we're here to pay our respects, I suppose. Still, I maintain he would have told us if something terribly dire had happened." Although Effie did tend to live inside his head. Not in the same manner Simon did. Simon lived inside his parliamentary arguments. Effie lived inside his daydreams. Whereas Simon could usually be counted on to remember to do things like eat and bathe, he saw them as necessary annoyances. Often Effie could not. Archie's knock was...